Hey guys,
Hello.
we are here. It's the Playful Life. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host, Krystal, the Playful Trainer, and so happy that you're joining us today. And today I have the lovely and beautiful Shannon Heater with me. And I'm
Thank
so
you.
excited to have another guest in the studio. Last week we had Fran Candelaria. So, again, the Playful Trainer is brought to you here by Ron Harlow Media, also by the Playful Journal, the 12-week guide to a more playful life. And also, some of my new sponsors here on my show are Dr. Tori's Dental Shop. She's also a sponsor of Ron Harlow Media, and also Beatniks on Conky. We have Rip and Bonnie over there at Beatniks. So, again, thank you so much. So blessed to have them. So, we're going to go ahead and just take a moment to share this on our social media so that people can uh, get
Watch
going with our
along.
watch party and all that good stuff. Oh, I got the volume up on my phone. So happy Thursday, everyone.
All right, you have to show me how to
Hope
do
you're. Oh,
this.
yeah. So we got our watch party here.
Where is this?
It's public. Oh, so if you go, restart here. Okay. Technology people.
I don't
Oh,
know.
gotta move over a little bit.
Yeah, get
There
in
we
there, girl.
go. Okay, so now you should be able to find this. This is like Tech 101. There we are.
Aha.
So if
Look
you
at
go
us looking
share,
down.
make sure it's public. Okay, now you can share. Yay!
Sharing. Sharing is caring.
Yes.
That's so fun.
All right, here it goes. Share, watch party, start. Okay, so now you can engage with us on social media, either on the Ron Harlow media page here on Facebook where we're live, or on mine Facebook or Shannon's Facebook. So if you're watching live or listening in, you can always give us a call too, and we'll hear your phone call ring and we'll be able to put you on the air. That number is 72033 my day. So 72033 MYDAY. So Shannon,
Hi.
I have funny story, but I have a little fun thing that I want to do because we're playful here, right? At the Playful Life.
Keeping it playful.
And I think I had told you that I was looking for the Golden Girls Mad Libs.
That's awesome.
And I of course I waited till the last minute and I couldn't order it online. So I went to a bookstore over there in Highland, and I went there with the intention of finding this, okay? But I didn't really ask anybody about it. I didn't call,
Yeah.
before I went to see if they had it. And so I had asked the guy at the front, I said, "Do you sell Mad Libs?" And he said, "Well, not really, but if we did, they'd be like over in the kids' activity books." I was like, "Okay,
Kids
probably
ones.
not going to find Golden Girls back there." So I was just sort of meandering around the store, and I went back to the restroom and I'm looking, and when I come out of like the restroom area, I kid you not, this book is sitting on a shelf with like nonfiction like history books or something. And I was like,
You're like, come on.
seriously? Like it was right there. I'm like,
I
that
love
is serendipity and like
I
the
love
universe
that.
just answering prayers all around. So
Yeah,
I'm so happy because now I get
that's
to
perfect.
do one of these with you.
It's the magical Mad Lib.
Yes. The magical man. It was meant to be for the
Yes.
Playful Life. So this one is called Roses, which Betty White just turned 98. So she is rocking it. If
Hero.
anybody is living the Playful Life,
She
it
really
is Betty
is.
White,
She
you know?
kind of, yeah, she could be a spokesperson for this
Yes,
for your show.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get her on as
Yeah,
a guest. Oh
like,
my gosh,
hey,
wouldn't that be amazing?
Ultimate
I'm
Playful
going to
Life.
speak that to the universe. Betty White's going to be a guest on the
Yes,
Playful Life.
let's get it. Yeah.
So this is called Roses Spearhoven Crispies. Okay. So
Nice.
we need an adjective to start.
We said crispy, so let's go with crispy.
Okay. A noun.
Shoe. Gosh.
Another noun.
Potato.
An adverb.
It's a little, hold on, coffee.
You need something that
adverb.
ends in an ly.
Yes, slowly.
Okay. Type of liquid.
Coffee.
We're going with coffee. Plural noun.
Oh my goodness. Waking up. This is good. Okay, Betty, give me words. I don't know. She's out there somewhere. She's like, what's going on? Gnomes.
Oh,
That's kind of
I
weird.
didn't spell that right. I think, it's spelled with a G,
Gnomes.
not a
Yeah.
K. Oh boy. Type of food.
Pumpkin pie.
Ooh.
I don't even know where that came from.
Well, this is kind of the fun of it. Another adjective.
Brown.
Another adjective.
Saucy.
Oh. A number.
7.
Okay.
Sorry. I have a thing about it. 7.
7 million.
7. Yeah.
A part of the body.
Leg.
Another adjective.
Loud.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go. You ready for your
Whatever.
Golden Girl Mad Lib? Can't sleep? Perhaps it's time to take a crispy batch of Spirahoven Crispies direct from Rose's shoe.
Yummy.
An ancient Scandinavian midnight potato, perfect for the hungriest of Vikings after a long night of pillaging. They go slowly with a hot cup of coffee.
You should do
That's
shit.
nice, yeah. Now, Baker be warned, the smell of these gnomes can be worse than a dirty garbage can full of, oh, we forgot an adjective there, fish heads, and moldy pumpkin pie. When they're baking in your oven and you can't stand the brown smell of them anymore, you know they're done. Carefully remove the tray from the oven and let these saucy delicacies cool for 7 minutes. Then, you hold your leg with one hand and hop a crispy in your mouth with the other. They taste simply loud.
They're simply loud. Oh my gosh. That's great.
That is.
That's great.
That
I
was
love
fun.
it.
That
Thank
was
you.
fun times.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, so I love to do that just kind of as a little icebreaker because sometimes it could be a little I don't know, a little overwhelming to be like, all right, let's start talking, so.
It's something new for me
yeah.
too, so
Yeah.
it helps. It's like, oh yeah, we're just talking, we're just friends.
Exactly. Which we are.
And yes, in real life, not just for
Yeah.
TV and
Right.
whatever.
Just for appearances.
Look at all these people joining. This is
Oh,
fun.
that's
This is new to me
awesome.
completely.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
this
hi,
is
everybody.
So cool. Yeah, we can say
Hi.
hi right now.
Look at those.
All the
Thank you,
people.
guys.
All the people. Yay. So, I remember getting together with you back now several months ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so excited to hear that you were, starting your own thing and really pursuing this dream that was on your heart. And I've been following what you've been doing on Instagram and your social media, and of course we always have great conversations when we're
Yes.
together. So I was really excited to have you on the show and start talking about what you do and your vision
Thank you.
and all of those things. So, gosh, where do we even start? Let's start with kind of your background a little bit, kind of like where you come from and where this journey began for you.
How did I get here?
Mhm.
Isn't that the question?
Yeah.
How did we get here?
Well,
But that's a huge part of it is, you always hear things like you write what you know and whatever. And somebody once asked me, because I always had this on my heart to help people. And I'm always like, they're like, well, what do you have to offer? And, where do you want to go? So it took a while. And I'm talking at least about 4 years to figure out what I wanted to do. So this is just the beginning for me. But
yeah.
some of my background, basically, when I was younger, I was raised Christian, so I had a lot of, but like from different churches, so it wasn't one specific thing. And I had a lot of influence, but the main theme was always love and compassion and helping others. And I have to attribute that to my mom, especially, because she always, taught me how to love people, and I think she planted that seed. I think that really is the heart of it. And then as I grew older, I kind of was less religious, but definitely still had this spiritual thing that just doesn't go away, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So um, about 4 years ago, I was seeing a friend of mine who's she's a therapist, and we were talking, and I was like, I just need to uh, do what you are doing. I need to do what you're doing.
Okay,
Like
so
I saw
in the
myself,
psychology realm of
yeah,
things.
in her
Okay.
seat, and I said, this is what I want to do, this
Mm-hmm.
one-on-one helping people. And that isn't exactly what I want to do now, but that started it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had the
Yeah.
heart of this, but then I needed a direction, and that kind of got me in the direction. So I started going to school for mental health.
Yes.
And another reason that that was happening is my mom's side of the family struggles with mental health, like the whole spectrum. There's a
Yes.
little bit of everything
And how
sprinkled.
common it is,
And yeah, and
for
so
a
I
lot of
really
families.
see it from a personal experience. And because I've had such a compassionate drive, I remember being in class one time and asking my professor, because I cry a lot. I'm a weepy gal. If I see you
It's
cry,
okay.
I'm gonna cry with you. So,
We'll try not to cry today.
yeah, don't cry, don't cry. I always have tissues everywhere because it's gonna happen. So they're right there. Okay, good. Woo. So,
Gets emotional around here.
it does. If you know Shannon, you've seen my tears. So, but mostly happy tears now. So that's
Hmm.
good.
Good.
But yeah, okay, where was I going with that? I'm gonna start crying
So
now.
started taking
So the
classes and
classes,
asked your
and I asked
professor.
my professor, "Can I really do this?" Because I felt like you can't just sit there and cry with people. It's not really that professional. Like, so I was seeing myself going, I don't know, I'm not like, and he literally stopped what he was doing and he sat down and he told me, think about a time when you had to act like an emergency with your kids or whatever. And
Hmm.
immediately I thought about when my son was a baby and he was choking and he was turning purple in front of me. And I'm like, I just went
Oh
over there
goodness.
and I had taken a Red Cross babysitting course when I
Yeah.
was like 11.
Oh.
So here I am now, a mom, and all that stuff from way back then kicked in. I
Hmm.
knew exactly what to do. He was fine. I gave him to my friend who was sitting in. I then went and cried.
Yeah.
And he's like, so when you have a need, if somebody has a need and you're helping them, you're just going to act. All that's going to come back. You have it. You
Hmm.
have it and you're going to do this. And you might cry all your way home on your first couple days of work, but that's okay. It's like, that's okay. That shows you care.
Yes. Right.
And that like
That you're
changed
human.
everything. Yeah. Like you're a human. You're
Yeah.
not just a cold,
Hmm.
robot helping
Which,
people.
when Fran was here last week, we talked about how healthcare and mental health, practitioners and things, how people are moving more towards compassion and
Yes.
coming from a place of compassion. And I know, when I worked with Dr. Tori, she definitely came at dentistry from a place of passion and compassion. And I think that's important. And I think, like, good for you
Yeah.
that you want to take that piece with it, because I think some of us may have had experiences where we went to a mental health practitioner or
Hmm.
something and felt very much like we were just sort of waiting in the waiting room with a bunch of people. We went in there, they said, "Well, how do you feel?" And then they just prescribed us some medication and
It feels kind of empty. I've
mm-hmm.
been there,
Right.
so I know what you're saying
Mm-hmm.
because you just you're like, okay, what am I doing? And then you don't continue it.
Mm-hmm. Right. It doesn't
And
work.
yeah, so the connection, the human connection, like that's really important. Um, and so that's the heart of it. And I'm actually wearing I love these Alex and Annie bracelets, and one
Oh,
of them, the back of it says compassion. So, um,
awesome.
compassion heals the world.
Oh,
So that's kind of
I like
I'm keeping
that.
that. Yeah, I love it. I
Yeah.
had to wear that
That's
today.
going to be your
That was on
phrase.
purpose.
That's going to be your phrase
It
of
does.
your quote,
Yeah.
compassion heals the world.
Yeah. So
I
I'm
like that.
getting these little bits here and there as I'm going and your journey, it just adds to your plate. So I have the seed of compassion. I have a vision of like wanting to help with mental health.
Hmm.
I have this spirituality. I have all this stuff with me, and I still didn't know exactly where I was going. And even for a while, I started following. So you were talking about Instagram.
Hmm.
That's kind of where it started. I was throwing little hints out to the universe because I was like, I want to help, but I don't know what to do yet. So I was just trying to spread positivity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at least just start with that. Make
Yeah.
people smile, make them happy, whatever, in the meantime, till I figure my stuff out. And I had met this gal about 7, 8 years ago, and she was an intuitive gal. So here's
Okay.
the other part.
Okay.
This is a big key
Love
to
this.
getting here,
Yeah.
and this is it changed my life. So as I was saying, it started out almost like a joke because I was at a Halloween party, and there was a psychic lady there,
Oh.
and I was like, "Oh, spooky!" And
Unfortunately, this was not one of the Halloween parties that we end up at
I
together.
know we didn't, yeah, but I see it like every other year. That was
I
a
know.
long time ago. I was still
Okay.
married, and
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So, but I'm a skeptic, so it's
Sure.
when people know that they're like, "No, you're not. You love everything. You believe in everything." And I'm like, "No, not really. I
Well, it's good to
test
proceed with caution,
everything."
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I took off my rings, I took off my jewelry because I tend to be very eclectic, and I didn't want her to pick up
Mm.
anything.
Hmm.
And I'm like, I'm going to do this thing, right? So I go in there and I pay my $20 for a half hour. I was in there for over an hour. She didn't charge me a dime. She was just like
Wow.
immediately like, I have so much to tell you. And she kind of saw all this stuff.
Hmm.
She, I when I got out of the room, everyone's like, "What'd she say? You were in there forever." And I was like, and I started crying. Of course, I was like, "Oh my goodness," So that really got me thinking, and I started digging into where is she getting this? How does she know these things and that?
Hmm.
So, and then I became friends with her. We're good friends to this day.
Oh,
Haven't seen her in a
amazing.
little while. She's a very busy gal, but that's the intuitive part. So I started pursuing that and figuring out, and we'll get into that a little bit,
Hmm.
after this. But that's where I was like, this is the last piece of the puzzle that I needed to put these things together. And turns out it's something I've been doing my whole life. I just didn't know.
Hmm.
When you get that urge, you get that feeling, you get that you meet someone and you instantly know things, and you just, picking up on the vibes. There's a lot of buzzwords around
Right.
intuition
Of
and
course.
all that, but
But when you have it and you practice it and
yeah,
you develop it, it just becomes part of who you
who
are and
you
an
are.
extension of what you do. And
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. So once I kind of incorporated that into my life, it gave me more direction because ultimately that's no one can really tell you what to do or where you're going. You have
right.
to figure it out.
Hmm.
The big question was, what
And
do I want?
be aware of those like road signs that pop up
Yeah,
along the way and pay attention to
yeah.
the ones that are going to guide you in the right way.
Like
And
turning in a bookstore and seeing some ad libs sitting there. You're
right,
like, oh,
exactly, right.
that was not an accident,
Yeah,
and
right.
just knowing that
Hmm.
and not feeling like that's so weird. Like, no, it's how it should be. And if we
Right.
all kind of tuned into that and paid attention to that and developed that,
Hmm.
it's just like learning how to swim, you know. We can all do it. We just have to learn how to do it.
Hmm.
So,
Right.
so that's kind of what got me to here.
Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, very
Thanks.
cool. And
Yeah.
um, I mean, I'm sure you can tell just listening and watching us, but when you meet Shannon, she just has this like awesome energy about her. And I remember years and years ago, we have a mutual friend, Sasha, who hopefully
Mhm.
is watching this. I know she said she was going to try and get up early
Hopefully,
or get ready
let's
early.
see, Shannon.
Um, well, she's probably at work now, but
She probably is.
um,
Yeah.
but she throws these amazing parties, and I knew Sasha for years, and when I decided to go to one of her like house parties, I didn't really know anyone, and I don't even remember if Mark was with me that first time I stepped into her house, and maybe he was, but regardless of that, I felt like I really gravitated to you, and you were one of the people that really was very open and loving and warm, and I think we ended up maybe talking for an hour or something that
Probably.
night, and you sort of have that energy where it's like I feel like I knew you for years, and we just never ran out of things to talk to and talk about, and
Yeah.
so yeah.
I do have the gift of gab, but I also like to listen. So I do. I do.
That's good. It's good to have
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'm going to take a little quick break here, and we're going to hear from our sponsors. I think the first one up on here is Dr. Tori's. So here we go. We'll be right back.
Oh.
Dr. Tori's Dental Shop in Cherville is a dentist to the stars. Her wealth of knowledge in the area of pain management, plus her ability to communicate the process, makes you feel like a star. The practice is growing for all the right reasons. Call and set up an appointment before her client book is full. Call 219-322-4036 and tell them you heard about it right here on Ron Harlow Media. Dr. Tori's Dental Shop is located at 130 East Joliet Street in Cherville at 219-322-4036. Call and feel better about every dental visit you ever have again.
Spend the holidays with us in downtown Hammond, Indiana. You'll have a fun and festive time while supporting small and local businesses. Enjoy shopping, dining, brewery, the arts, and events. Like and visit the Downtown Hammond Council on Facebook. For a listing of where to go and what to do, call Karen at 219-512-4298 between 9 a.m. and 7 p.m. Hammond is happening.
Looking for a friend who knows how to be a good listener? Humane Indiana in Munster has four-legged friends waiting to meet you. Open daily at 11 a.m., Humane Indiana provides many animal services from rescue to daily care. They provide on-site education while managing a wildlife preserve. At the main facility located at 421 45th Street, the staff awaits your visit. Ron Harlow Media would like to thank Director Brian Fitzpatrick and Board Vice President Scott Filler from Apex Construction and Remodeling for their support. Visit Humane Indiana and leave with a new member of the family. To find out more, visit the Humane Indiana website or dial 219-922-3811.
We are taking the hassle out of holiday shopping at It's Just Serendipity. Gifts for everyone on your shopping list for every budget. We carry everything vintage and antique, handcrafted, upcycled, and repurposed goods by local artists, yummies prepared by local vendors such as honey, toffee, and biscotti. Carry decor, memorabilia, and custom gift baskets. Shop small with us at 5630 Holman Avenue in downtown Hammond, Indiana. Like It's Just Serendipity on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, or visit our website, itsjustserendipity.com.
Experience Broadway in Northwest Indiana. Established as the top provider of entertainment, Theater at the Center in Munster brings you the best in live theater, music, and comedy without city prices and parking hassle. With its elegant setting and superb talent, Theater at the Center in the Round makes each production must-see. Five-star dining is optional for select shows in each of the Thursday night performances. For show dates, times, and prices, visit theateratthecenter.com or call 219-836-3255. Ask about becoming a subscriber. Discounted tickets and priority seating are just a few of the benefits you'll receive. Call 219-836-3255. Theater at the Center. You'll leave impressed. Now listen to Harlow tell you about what's on stage right now.
That's right, Krystal. Ron Harlow here. We've got a great show coming up. It's February 7th at the Theater at the Center. It's a comedy night. It's hosted by our good friend Nick Geza. Headlining is Mike Toomey. He is a Chicagoland news anchor. The show is next Friday, February 7th. The dinner show starts at 6:30. If you just want to come for the comedy show, it's at 8. The dinner and show are $45. Just $30 to see the show only with cash bar available. Give them a call at 219-836-3255 for tickets or hit up theateratthecenter.com. Back to you, Krystal.
Shout out to Ron Harlow for letting me talk to you guys about whatever I want here for an hour on Thursdays. Pretty awesome.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we're here with Shannon Heater, and she's awesome. And I hope you've been listening for now the past 25 minutes that we've been talking.
We got quite a few people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Yay. So feel free, people, if you're joining us on Ron Harlow Media Facebook or you're live with us on either one of ours, Krystal Kadar or Shannon Heater's Facebook, you can engage with us and ask her questions and get into the conversation. You can always call us also, and we'll put you on the air at 720-33-MY-DAY. Okay, so Shannon, let's talk about what you do now that I know kind of where you came from and where this all originated. And this is so exciting, you're putting all these pieces together. So what is it now that you're bringing to the world?
Well, as I said at the beginning, this is still new for me, so it will be fine-tuned as I go.
Of course.
But the first step was, I know it's kind of silly, but at least create some kind of platform for to give this out. And so I started a website. And I liked the idea of Empress Energy and just kind of talk about like where did you get that?
Yes.
So Empress is like above the kings and queens, and so there's like again these buzzwords. I was just writing them down, brainstorming like old school, like when you're in school and you have to like
Yeah.
brainstorm for a paper. I was
That's
like,
exactly
okay, I'm
it.
gonna
That's exactly
So
it.
I literally did these steps. And I mean I'm not above it. It's like okay, write it down. Where do you want to go with this? So and everything kind of went to I was thinking about the highest energy and like within ourselves, even like being your best self, and these words kept coming up, and I just kept seeing Empress Energy, because that's what I want to bring. I want to bring your highest energy, like lift people up and get them to that place. So
Yes.
so that's where the name came from.
And I love that it's so feminine.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's for everybody,
Yes.
regardless. But it's just like that nurturing.
Right.
It also encompasses like this nurturing, loving, compassion, but also powerful. Because ultimately, another drive, really quick, behind all this wasn't just all happy. It was hardship and going through trauma and like how do you get through that and pulling yourself up from your bootstraps.
Right.
And
when we do go through trauma, especially when we're kids, right? Who do we go to? Mom, right? We go to the mother energy or whatever that is, or even if it is our father, it's usually the feminine energy inside of
Exactly.
the dad that ends up kind of coming out.
Thank you so much for bringing that up because I have like so much and my brain's going all over. I want to tell you everything, but that's really important because it's about the energy. It's not about gender or whatever.
Right.
So it's for everybody. And so I made a website and it's not even launched yet. So because I'm still working on it. And I will put more specific things on there. But what I hope to do is offer encouragement and information, clarify some things because there's so much out there, especially with the spiritual community. I want it to be known specifically that it doesn't matter what religion you are. It's all about bringing people together. It's not about anything that's going to separate anybody because we got enough of that. We need to come together.
Amen.
Yeah, we need to come together. And so, and there's always themes, and my goal within bringing people together and encouragement is also to kind of avoid unnecessary suffering. And I'll write something about this. I kind of have a lot of it done, but I need to, edit. But suffering's important. And I was looking up, in every religion, a lot of people like kind of say that suffering's a good thing, and I believe that it is. We learn through suffering. It gets our attention. It strips away your ego, and it makes you focus on, okay, what do I got to do? So suffering's good. I mean, it got me here.
Polishing the rock into a diamond, right?
Yes.
Yep.
So being pressed and being, those hard edges being smoothed off. So, but unnecessary suffering is like, okay, you went through something traumatic and you had the good one. We're going to call it the good suffering,
Yes.
right? The one that was important and supposed to be to get you somewhere. But then it's prolonged because you don't know where to go and you don't know what to do and you haven't connected with yourself and you're lost or you're avoiding. And there's so many things that can happen that perpetuate like unnecessary suffering.
Yes.
So with what I've been through, I've learned certain tools. So I would like to put those tools in your hand, so to speak, because ultimately I can't help anybody, but I can help you help yourself.
Yes.
So I can give you those tools and say, hey, this is going to help, and
Right.
here's how to use them.
And that's what a coach does. I mean, a coach doesn't do it for you. You know, when I coach people in fitness,
you're not
I'm
moving
not,
their arms
right,
for
exactly,
them and lifting that
exactly,
weight.
right? They're doing the work,
Yeah.
and that's the important part of it. You know, but
letting
you're there
them
to
know
guide
they can
them
and how and
exactly
So-
encourage and guide.
Yeah, and that's a good point. You're doing this physical thing, and I'm talking about like emotional, mental, and they come together. But there's still, I feel like when I'm reading things online, and it's encouraging, but it's still like theoretical, and it's still kind of mystical, and it's like, I don't know how to grab that and put it to use. So I want to take those ideas and make them solid way that you can use them. How do you, do A, B, or C?
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's A, B, and C all over the internet.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you use that? How do you do it?
Right.
So that's
I mean,
my goal.
I often say too, there's no lack of knowledge about how to eat healthy or
Yeah.
how to cook healthy
Yeah.
or what exercise you
Yeah.
do for abs or what, I mean, you want to know that, Google it, right? Because
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
But it's the implementing it and
Putting it to
yeah,
work.
and
Yeah,
like
for sure.
actually sticking with it and doing it and how
Mhm.
that applies to like your individual body is
Mhm.
what's missing. That's the X factor, right? That's
Mhm.
missing. So that's so cool that you're bringing that,
Yeah,
for
and
all of that because it's
just
true.
breaking it down into, you get overwhelmed. Who's not overwhelmed? At least once a week. You're just overwhelmed. So
Once a day.
Yeah. Let's be real. Yeah.
Once
I
an
was
hour.
overwhelmed before we started. I was like, oh no. but I could do this. So I had my cards. I'm like, okay. But when you break it down into simple, bite-sized pieces or small exercises and whatnot, so that's kind of how I want to approach it.
Yeah.
I can get very deep. I can tell you all this stuff. This is how my mind works, but I don't want to blast anyone and be like, what is that?
And there's
So
levels
just breaking
to
it down,
right? Because
Mhm.
somebody who's maybe just dipping their toe into, intuition and spiritual guidance and all these things and healing and they might not be ready for all this knowledge that you
Yeah.
have, right? And maybe not even ready to receive that message, but eventually they will be. So there's kind of like those levels, and then the people who are really ready,
Yeah,
they
more
get a different
advanced,
package, right?
yes.
And they get a different experience.
Exactly. So on my site, when I do launch it, there will be general information. There'll be where you can have the different levels, and then I'll be offering packages for different levels too of someone who they've eaten steak before. They're like, I'm ready. Let's go. And then there's the baby food that's
Yes.
like, okay, little tiny bites, and let's get started. So, so I'm definitely gonna separate that for sure.
Right. And I know before we kind of talked about even maybe hosting events.
Absolutely.
And, so if
So
people
exciting.
are maybe interested, but not really sure, like, what's this even about? Is this for me? That's a good way always, to kind of get a little taste of it, right? And connect with other people because,
That's important.
I love creating that sense of community,
Yeah.
and I have a couple of communities online, like on Facebook, some groups. Facebook's a great platform for that. You can throw people in a group and they can discuss things and, kind of give each other support and stuff along the way.
Yeah, and I forgot as I'm doing this, I'm like holding my breath, and I'm like, this is so ironic. It's funny. I was going to start with, can we just take a deep breath? Because that's another thing that I tried at the beginning before I really knew, before I had Empress Energy. I was just going to do a meditation class because it's so
Yes.
important.
Yeah, exactly.
And so we don't breathe enough. So let's just like,
Yes.
oh my goodness.
I love that.
All your muscles
Yes.
relax. You're
Yes.
just like, okay.
When Fran was here last week, we talked a lot about breath work and
Yeah.
breathing and how, there are just some classes that strictly work,
Just
breathing and
that.
stuff
Mhm.
and how, there's different types of breathing and all these things. And, it was really
Yeah.
cool to get into that with her. And that is it. It's so important and something so simple that we can do anytime, right? In your car, while you're cooking dinner, at work, whatever, just to take a moment.
It's super, super important before you start anything, and when you're done with things. If you just pay attention to it, it's like you realize I'm not breathing, and it has a trickle down effect. It doesn't. We joke about it even, but it's so important. It's like you're starving your body.
Mm-hmm.
We live on oxygen, and you're just constricting that, and
Right.
it makes. Everybody has anxiety, right?
Right.
Well, how about just breathe and maybe reduce it by a huge percentage
Yeah.
just by breathing.
Exactly.
We do other things instead. We're like, oh no, when you're tense and you're like, I need a cigarette or I need a drink or I need
Right.
to.
We
I
look
need
to
to
all
go.
these other outside sources
anything.
and substances and
And if you
people,
just stop
relationships, all those
and
things.
breathe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not only important for the physical. It creates a space for your mental clarity. So breathing and meditation, I'm going to always start with that with people because I feel like that gets you ready to receive.
Right.
If your brain's too tensed up and you're not even going to receive the information. So you need to be in a certain place of relax your brain. And I was thinking a lot about when I was getting ready for this, just that you do the exercise. So
Yeah.
I love that these two things go hand in hand
Yeah.
because it's super important to have both.
I'm constantly yelling at my classes to breathe. Breathe.
You're like, you're not breathing.
Don't hold your breath. In through your nose, out through your mouth. They're
Yeah.
probably like so annoyed with me. But I would bet that most of the people who are hearing me say that are like, oh, I was not breathing.
I'm not even breathing right now. Yeah.
Right? Like,
You have to be reminded. And it's silly because it's an automatic thing. But
I mean, not that you're not breathing,
Yeah,
right? But it's
you're not
that you're
breathing
not
properly
breathing
enough
and really taking the time to slow it
Yeah.
down. And
And last night when I was just thinking about doing this, of course I was up all night thinking about it. So, but I always do that. I do that when I'm doing hair too. I'll do your hair in my head the night before and then you'll come in. So I was thinking about breathing and about exercising, and when you get your heart rate up and you're breathing, like how important that is, but also the resting heart rate where you're sitting and the meditation, how different it is, and the benefits of both. And I was kind of mulling that over, and I just think that that's just as important as and it creates a different type of headspace when you're because you're creating different chemicals. I get very sciencey with it too. It's because things are actually happening. Science can tell you what's happening in your body when you're breathing and when you're exercising, and that's a different chemical that's
physiological,
being made.
Of course.
And when you're meditating, you're making more of other chemicals. They're actually being created. That's why people have what they call like a spiritual experience. It's not science, and it's not spiritual. It's both.
Right.
So you put those two together, you have a spiritual experience because you're taking care of your body, and your body's creating the correct chemicals. So that I was just thinking about all that last night, and how I'm like, oh, there's another thing I got to write about.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot to it,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I just want to offer different steps, open this up, create some definitions for people when they're confused, clear that up, and then go from there as far as helping individuals.
Yes. Awesome.
So
Awesome.
That's the plan.
We're going to take another little quick break, and then when we come back, I'd love to talk to you kind of about, I know we talked about this a little bit, but how you've been doing, hair and beauty over the years, and kind of how that experience has also fed into what you're doing now. So
Absolutely.
We will hear from our sponsors. Bear with me. Okay, here we go. All right, and here it is.
Since 1964, Springer Realty has been helping homeowners save thousands when buying or selling their home. Springer Realty is locally owned, provides full service start to finish, and will handle all the paperwork and details. Why pay those high commissions in a seller's market when one phone call can literally save you thousands? Visit us at SpringerSellsHomes.com or call 219-838-0180. Springer Realty.
Have you played today? Playful activity can be anything from taking a walk to your favorite neighborhood deli to picking up a game of soccer with your friends. But most importantly, bringing a playful mindset to everyday life can elevate your mood, increase your energy, and your thirst for life. I'm Krystal, the Playful Trainer. I'm a health, life, and fitness coach. It's my passion to help you find playful ways to get you active, achieve your health goals, and live a more fulfilling life. My new book, The Playful Journal, has been featured on the Make My Day podcast, TuneIn radio show, and in the Northwest Indiana Times. I'm available for individual, group, and online coaching, or I'd love to speak at your next event. You can find me at theplayfultrainer.com or on Facebook or Instagram. Stay playful.
Hey, all right, we're back. And you just heard, that was me doing a little radio spot with Rick Kubik over at his studio. That was super fun. I got to do a little voiceover.
I know,
for
it
my,
was good.
Yeah. So if you're just tuning in, you've probably seen us here for a minute, but this is The Playful Life. I'm your host, Krystal, the Playful Trainer, and of course brought to you by The Playful Journal, your 12-week guide to a more playful life. And I am here with Shannon Heater. She is awesome. And it was kind of funny. We were saying when you walked in, Ron thought your name was Heather, and you said that a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people have called you Heather your whole life because your last name.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Everyone sees Heater and they say Heather, and I look like a Heather, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
So
I love it.
everyone thinks that.
Yeah.
That's been my whole life. So I'm like, I am not Heather. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's my surname, I guess now.
I
I'm just gonna
love
add it
it.
on. I'm just gonna add it on and be like, okay, it's it's
Yeah.
in there. No. Heater Heather.
Maybe you should just change your last name
I know.
so you could be Shannon Heather.
Heather like
Yeah.
a feather. I don't know.
I
I don't
love
know.
it.
I'll think of something.
I love that name. It's my sister's name, so I love it.
I do love the name, but
Yeah.
it's just been something I've been used to since grade school. So
Yeah, that's fun. All right. So, like I was saying, I'd love to talk to you because I've gone to you, for some hair and beauty
doings.
and all of that. So, and you've worked at a lot of different places in Northwest Indiana. And so tell me a little bit about that, your experience with, doing that with people and having that one-on-one time and how that sort of formed what you're doing as well.
yes, big huge background point of that and continued is that I do hair. I've people say, how long have you doing hair? I was like, well, when I was 2, my grandma bought me a pretty cut and grow doll for Christmas, and you cut yarn hair, and that's where it all began. My grandma
Aw.
also, she did hair forever, so I grew up playing in a salon and getting a crazy perm and whatever. So
Yeah.
I had the girly thing going
Me
on.
too,
but
girl.
yeah, I
It was
had
the 80s, okay?
It was. I survived the 80s, okay?
And I like to say my eyebrows survived the 90s.
Oh, hallelujah. Let's take a moment for those eyebrows. So
Oh.
yeah, so hair and beauty, it's just kind of always been a background. And originally I thought I was going to be a science teacher when I was a kid. So I didn't expect to do hair. It was just something I did on the side all the time. And eventually I just started, I went and got my license. And no matter what, I mean, I love doing hair. It's art,
It is.
and I love that aspect of it, but what I grew to love even more was the people. And you get this one-on-one time with people, and you're literally, there's not many jobs where you're touching your client. There's usually a desk in between you and them or something. So like doctors and whatnot, but you're physically touching these clients and you're getting to know them in an intimate way. And not only the jokes about, hairdressers and bartenders know all your secrets. I mean, it's true. But I feel like hairdressers care. Bartenders are like, here, have another
It's
drink.
true, guys. Don't get your hairdresser mad.
Yeah, we care.
They know all
and we
your
have
secrets.
sharp objects too. No, we love you. We'll never use them. You never hear that. But I love building relationships, and you have to build trust. And all jokes aside about sharp objects, but you're building trust.
Oh, yeah.
So I developed that skill pretty soon, pretty early on, and you do that by listening. Yes, I love to talk. That's no secret, but you listen, and you have to learn how to actively listen because people don't know how to tell you what they want. And they're trying. So you have to learn that. And it's just a skill that I wouldn't even know how to teach you that skill. It just comes over time. And I feel like that really helped add to what I can do now because I know how to connect with people. And I love that. And I love my people. They're not just my clients. Like, I've written all the mushy stuff on Facebook about how I love you guys and you're everything to me because each and individual person is important to me. So I really think that
And
is
that's
going to
why
help.
they're loyal to you because they probably know and feel that, when they're with you. And they
Like,
know that.
I love your hair, but, like, I care about you, too,
Right, yeah.
So, yeah,
Exactly.
and so they follow because, and I've moved around a little bit, and I was absolutely overwhelmed with this feeling of love when the last place that I moved from, everyone was like, I'll wait for you. I'll follow you wherever. And I just thought, oh, wow.
Yeah.
I don't take that for granted for 1 second.
Yeah.
And that means a lot to me. And that really propelled me to, okay, how can I help more than just doing your hair? Like,
Right.
I love to do hair and I'm still doing it for a while, but like, I'd love to take that out of the picture to where I can just sit and be with you and not well, I can't really pay attention because I got to do your hair now, you know.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's like
hold that thought.
yeah.
Cutting over here.
So yeah, let me go mix up some more. You know, I was
And and when Fran was here last week, we talked because she's a massage therapist, and you know, we talked a lot about the power of touch and how
Yes.
I mean, she knew all like the amazing chemical words and everything. She's so super smart. But she was saying, you know, of course, that there's a chemical that gets released in our body when we have human touch, and it's been proven to be healing and all these other things, and how, you know, we were talking about how you know, some people have very bad experiences with touch in their life, or maybe no experiences with touch in their life, or, you know, if you don't have a significant other or people in your life that you trust, you may go days, weeks without ever really physically touching another
even
human,
just
right?
even just
Yeah,
this, you know,
exactly.
even just putting your hand on their shoulder or whatever, it's soothing.
Right.
Yeah, that so a year and a half ago I decided to pursue Reiki because it's kind of this art which you can do without touch, but you're still in proximity or whatever.
Yeah.
There's different levels, but I wanted to learn more about that just because it was an aspect of touch and healing and connection. So I've been digging through all the different modalities of bringing healing and compassion and love to people. So, and that's definitely one of them as well, which I love. Reiki is really pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah. And we're blessed, really, in Northwest Indiana. We have some amazing, amazing, you know, Reiki masters and teachers and places where you can go and learn about those things. So, you know, of course, I'm sure you have those resources. So if you're interested in, you know, learning something
Absolutely.
like that, Shannon is the right person for you to connect with.
Yeah,
You know,
I can
for sure.
I can lead you to, you know, different and all that information will be definitely on my page when I get that going. So there was something else that I was going to say, and I don't remember what it was, but it was, about Reiki. If people hear this word and they think it's weird and they're like, what the heck is Reiki?
Yes.
I like
Please
to
explain.
describe that as, I mean, if you break up the word, it's basically like energy healing, and it's like universal energy. But and I always throw in this because I was raised Christian and I have like this spiritual background. I always like, you know, it comes from another country, and it scares people sometimes.
Right.
They
People
think it's
think
not
that
magic. It's not like voodoo. It's not something that
or they
to
think
be
it's
afraid
against
of.
their religion in
Yeah,
some
and
way.
it's really not. When I was little, I remember the prayer groups, and they would lay their hands on you. It's the same thing.
Right.
You're the vessel, but you're letting that healing come through you because you're prepared, and you're in a space. You know, if someone's hurting, they can't really receive it sometimes. So you need the support of others, and that's really what it breaks down to. It's the same thing as if you're laying hands on somebody to pray for them.
Exactly.
And I
mean,
like that it's, again,
even in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
When one or two people, or when two or more people are gathered in my name, then, you know,
I am there also.
I'm there
Yeah.
also. And
Yeah.
so is the healing and everything else. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love that. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that because I want to bring people together.
Right.
I don't want to put anything that's going to separate anybody and cause them to be like, whoa, and stumble, and
Yeah.
you know.
We definitely don't need any more of that in this
No.
world. Goodness
No.
gracious. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like to say, I mean, you know, it's, I know there's a direct correlation between my decision to really tune out of the news and all the negative energy in the world and tune in to more positive things. So many doors have opened in my life. So many positive things have happened in my life. And, you know, it's right. We have a diet with food, what you put in is very important. And people, I think, often miss that component of, you know, what they're putting into their mind and their
Yes.
spirit
Huge.
is also so important, maybe even more important than what you put in your mouth, you know, honestly, because those things can affect your decisions on what you're eating, and, you know, and if you're, you know, if your rhetoric in your life is constantly all this negativity and all this bad news, and I mean, I'm not saying don't know what's going on in the world at all, you know, of course, I mean, it's hard to avoid it anyway, but you know, just don't
Not
own
focusing
that,
on
right?
that,
That's
and
not your story.
Right.
That's somebody else's story.
And it can be defeating and make you feel a sense of hopelessness because you're like, why even try? If this is what the world is, why even try?
Right.
And I'm here to bring I'm cutting my flag, and I'm coming against that
Yeah.
thought right there because I want to bring hope for, you know, you don't have to live that life. Like you said, that's somebody else's story.
Yeah, exactly.
You create your own.
And, you don't have to change the whole world, right? You could just change one person at a time,
Yeah, I
one
can't do it.
situation at a time, yeah. And I think that, again, people feel very hopeless or defeated when they're like, oh, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
I have
Oh,
no control over who's
yeah.
president or who's this or who's that or who's in power. And, I was thinking back this last week, my friend Lisa and I are working on a benefit for one of her friends, and she's just such an awesome and caring person. And, we found this homeless man, and we were just so moved to help him, right? And so, she put together a duffel bag, and we're like, what can we throw in there? And let's find out if he has allergies, and let's see what kind of, help we can get this guy.
That's
And
awesome.
I mean, curing homelessness and starvation and hunger and all those things. I mean, when you look at it as a whole, it's just so overwhelming
Daunting
and
and
daunting,
yeah.
right? But we can help that one man,
Yeah.
right? And we
Yeah.
can change his life,
Yeah.
and that's
And it's a
one
trickle
check
effect.
in the plus.
It's a trickle effect, and it's like that ripple that in the water, and you do the one thing, and then those people do another, and they, and so
Yeah.
that does help.
Yeah.
When you were talking about, I just had a thought I wanted to mention when you were talking about what you put in your mind, and it's also about, and you were saying community and like who you surround yourself with. So Mel Robbins, she's awesome. If you don't know who she is, Google that.
Yes.
She said something the other day. I follow her on Instagram, so I like it because I get a little blurb, and then I just kind of meditate on that thought,
Yeah, I like that.
And she was talking about the people that you surround yourself with. It's really hard sometimes to let people go that are not for your highest good. They're not really benefiting. You can still love them, but you just can't be around them all the time.
Have to detach with love.
Yeah, she was talking about if you really want to be successful, think about like when you're on a team, and when you're on a team, you accomplish something because you're all shooting for the same goal. You're encouraging each other. You're working together. And I'm just like, I had that moment, like, oh my goodness, I started seeing my team that's been assembling. And you're my team member, okay?
Yeah.
So I've just seen
Ditto.
it's all been coming, and I'm like, wow, I have a team. I have a team now. So I've been trying to focus more on that and let that be my motivation to succeed.
Yeah.
Because you do get overwhelmed and you feel like you said, what can I do? This is the world I'm in. Oh my goodness, how can I? But when you have a team, it's not just you. You're doing it together.
Right.
And it helps keep you focused and motivated and all the things that I was like, I don't really like sports. Well, guess what? Yes, I do, because I learned a lot from it.
Yeah.
And this is, this is my team, and I've learned that through analogies are great. I use them all the time.
I mean, of course, your higher power is always on your team.
Absolutely. That's the team leader,
Yeah.
That's the
team
coach.
captain. Yeah, the coach. Right,
The
exactly.
coach. You got your coach, and you got your team captains, and you got, and then the members, and you need all of that. And funny, because I that's what in my curriculum is like learning about your guides and your spirit guides, or your leaders and that. So assemble that team.
Right.
And how to get there, how to who, and how to find that, and how to recognize that, because they're gonna come, but you need to recognize it as this is my team member. And
Oh, I love that. That. So of course, when we had talked, I think the last time I had told you that I feel, and I don't, of course, some people might be like, what? But I feel like maybe I have a gift, and I definitely think I have a gift to connect with people. And I mean, I love doing this. I love, coaching people. And, that's no accident that I think this has come my way because of that. But on a deeper, more intuitive level, I think I have maybe the ability to see things in others that others, can't see or whatever. And I know we talked a little bit about like my anxiety issues and how, it's no secret I deal with anxiety. I medicated that for a while, and that was not working for me. So, I've tried different things and just trying to meditate more and, of course, exercise and, find the right path for me. But I remember, somebody in the area, when she's a Reiki master, she had described that maybe anxiety is just me trying to fight that intuitive part of my brain.
Absolutely.
So, I while I have you here, what is maybe some piece of advice that you would give me to maybe tap into that a little bit more and explore it, and how that might help me with dealing with like the anxious thoughts and stuff that make me lie awake at night.
Right. Well, I will tell you that you have the first step down because you recognize it. That's huge. Just seeing that, accepting it, being open to that. And then, as far as if you're saying to, you've got a lot of anti anxiety, let's say, uh, practices going for you.
Mhm.
But instead of trying to fight the part that you don't like, just try putting your energy more into focusing on the other part that you said, which was seeing things and knowing things about people and just accepting that and owning it, because then you're taking the focus off the anxiety and you're putting the focus on, and so it takes care of itself. In the moment, you have your practices of like, okay, let me breathe, let me count, let me, whatever it is that you do, or let me go work out, or, and, but in the other moments when you're not experiencing anxiety actually in the moment, start cultivating that. And so one of the things I've done is just through meditation. It's a good practice because you're by yourself and you don't have to like, hey, can you come over? I mean, if you have another person, awesome. But you can practice picking up things. And I went to a meditation class where we learned how to develop our intuition, and some of the things was, and I think you participated in something like this, where you're supposed to hold hands or just sit by each other and you see what you get.
Right.
I'm doing air quotes for the people that are just listening. I'm like, oh, what you get from
We've been throwing air quotes.
what you get from this, and
Like a reading.
practicing that. Yeah, you're practicing it because that it's like a muscle, and you need to flex that muscle. So you start with little baby steps, and you start by, even just, you could be sitting in a park or sitting in a coffee shop and look at somebody and just kind of go, and kind of tune in, right? And just see what you pick up on it. It's good to have a person that's a safe person to practice it with, because they give you feedback of, that makes sense to me.
Right.
Oh, you're picking up on a bird. Well, I just was thinking about birds a minute ago, or whatever
Right.
it may be. I know it sounds silly, and it doesn't have to be like life-shattering information. You just are picking something up about and being comfortable with that, and knowing that that's a real thing,
Right.
and that we're supposed to have that. We all have that, but we don't practice it. It's a weak muscle in most of us.
Yeah.
So
Right.
just flex that muscle a little bit.
I love that.
And then when you're focusing on that, you're not focusing on the anxiety part.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
It takes that. The more we focus on something we don't want, the more of that we get.
So true. So true.
When I'm in I've had a few panic attacks, anxiety attacks, and when I'm in it, I'm like, I don't want, and the more I'm focusing on it, the worse it gets. So you have to change your brain. You have to start thinking something else.
Like recognize it, accept that it's there.
Yeah.
Don't own it. Let it go.
Yeah.
And you're right. Practice, right? Always,
it is. It's
always.
a practice. Meditation is a practice. Intuition, it's a muscle you need to flex,
Right.
and it takes practice to do that.
So I know we're going to run over just a little bit, but that's okay because we got time, girl.
Yeah.
So for people out there who hear the words Reiki or intuition or spiritual guides and things like this, I think a lot of people think like, or hear the word psychic, right? We think, or people may think like, oh, you're going to tell me my future,
yeah, fortune
right?
telling,
Fortune telling. And it's very, very different. And I'll admit, when I was younger, I thought the same thing, right? I thought going to a psychic, she's going to be able to tell me who I'm going to marry and what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And, but I think it's just being able to read that person, like that psychic that you saw, she was intuitive enough to pick up on your strengths, who you were, and see the path that you were already on.
Exactly.
It wasn't that she was giving you advice or saying
you need to
do this or that, right? It's
No.
very different, and I think people get scared and like, oh, I don't want to go, I don't want to know about that, but it's like, no, this is something that already exists inside of you. It's just somebody is in tune enough with yourself and how you're vibrating and all of that to be able to see that in you. And
it's a different language. I think this has been around forever, and I think the language around it is what separates. I'm really focused on that at the beginning of everything, which will be the forefront of the information I publish, because definitions, don't get hung up on definitions. As with Reiki, and I was saying laying on of hands, that's what a Christian would call it. Reiki, like different, that's, there's there's the Eastern and Western, definitions of things, but it's the same thing happening.
Right.
And I was always taught, oh, that's going to be evil, that's, bad and whatever, because it's different. That's the only reason, is because it's different. We didn't understand it. So that's bad. Stay away from it.
Right.
And yeah, don't play around with things you don't understand. But guess what? Goes back to my mom. Seek the truth. And you don't have to be afraid of something when you understand it. Seek it.
Right.
Learn more about it.
Right.
Find out. And then it's not so scary.
And questioning things is part of growing and learning. And,
yeah.
If that's the journey that you're on and that's going to bring you closer to your spirituality, no matter what religion you are, then I think that's a positive thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, my mom, she definitely always taught me. And like I said, we went to different churches, so it was all Christianity, but she was always like, no, I need to know more. And so we bounced around, but that put something in me. She said, don't believe something just because someone tells you. Like, find out.
Yeah.
Find out. Like, go, okay, that's a good point. Let me look into it now. And I offer the same thing. I'm never going to be like, I'm the know all about whatever. I'm still learning. I'm still learning. I'm still practicing.
Right.
I haven't arrived. But,
Yes.
I've learned.
If we ever will, right?
Yes,
we arrive in the next part of this journey, right? Maybe
Yeah.
outside of our human
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. And then you're probably at the beginning of something else. So you're, are we really arrived? But, yeah, another thing was just start before you're ready. If I just wait to be ready to do this, I'll never start it.
Amen, sister.
So,
tell
yeah,
you
can I get a
what,
high five on that one?
Imperfect action is
Yeah.
what it's all about, you know? I
I'm
mean,
not afraid to fall down, because then I'm going to pick myself up and go, wow, I understand that now. So that's why I'm just doing this kind of raw, kind of real,
yeah.
authentic.
That's with
Here's
anything,
me trying,
right? Anything
Yeah.
in life, right? It doesn't have to be perfect on day one.
Right.
It's not going to be.
It's not.
And that's okay. And I think people respect you more when it's not,
Yeah.
because you don't look rehearsed and
Yeah.
fake.
I got my
and,
notes sitting here. I'm
yeah,
like, oh,
they
am I
just
going to forget stuff?
see the
Yeah.
real you,
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I'm messing with computer. I'm this is day 3 or, time 3, and I'm getting a little better with like going back and forth. I actually managed to get our video going the whole time. I
Awesome.
apologize to Fran, but last time we did like the whole half of the other second half of the podcast with just the picture up. So
yeah.
so yeah, exactly.
It's still going.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
gotta just
you know what? And I think you're
take
doing
the
great.
first step.
I'm so excited. Actually, so enough about me for a minute. I'm just super thrilled that you're doing this. And when we met up and you told me, I think I was cutting your hair that time, and you were like, "Oh, I'm publishing this book," and I was like, "What?" Oh my gosh, where did this come from? I'm so excited.
Yeah.
And I was super. That lit a fire for me too, because I was like, "This is what I want to do too. I want to do some things," and we exchanged some, ideas. I'm super thankful for that, and I'm super happy for you.
Yes.
So I wanted to tell you that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you so
problem.
much. Yeah.
I mean it, girl.
And that's, I mean, again, talking about like your community and how you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most, or whatever, and
Yeah.
those people that inspire you to do things. And if you want to get fit, find fit friends or people who are on the same journey at
Yeah.
least, and if you want to pursue a business, find other people who want to pursue a business, and just surround yourself with people who are going to nurture
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
path.
because you're going to not only support each other, but information. And like when you do fall down, like, oh, so this happened, make sure you don't do that, or whatever. I would
Right.
gladly share the victories and the tripping, over
Yeah.
things. And because it all contributes to going forward. And yeah, I love
Yeah.
it.
That's great. That's
Thank you
great.
so
Thank you so
much.
much for
Yeah.
being here.
No
So,
problem.
I know you said you have a website that's not quite launched yet, but I do follow you on Instagram, and I love seeing you on there and all the things you have to offer. So, tell everybody how
We'll put
they
a little
find
plug.
you.
So
Yeah.
so my new Instagram, which has like 2 whole posts, is Instagram at Empress Energy 777. Little joke to the universe there.
We'll
Sevens.
put that in the show notes here.
Yeah,
also, so
and
you can find her.
and I will be posting that. You can check that out. There will be more constantly. I'm always I love to write, so there's going to be little blurbs on there, and it will at least point you to when I do launch the website. So that's a first step. My personal Instagram is Shanty Goddess. So you can always look that up. But and I'll put this in the notes too,
Just
even
like
on our
Shanti Wellness that was here
yeah. I
last
thought that was
week
kind of
with Fran.
ironic.
Isn't that crazy?
I have a picture
right?
of me in front of their sign a long time ago. I was like, wow, look at this place.
Oh,
It's me.
see,
So I need to go there.
we're just all connected.
I know. It
I
always
love this.
the little
Yeah,
droplets of like,
yeah.
oh, you're on the right path. Here you go.
So again, that was Shanti Goddess, right? SHANTIGODDESS.
Yes. Which means Shanty's peace. And so,
yeah. Which is awesome too. Like, so my mom and his sister and I, we started like a soap company, kind of as like a fun thing, and we, pursued it for a while. And we need to get back to it, but the name we came up with was Restoring Your Goddess, because we thought that just the world needed more feminine energy and needed more support of like your inner goddess, and how maybe the only time you have to spend on yourself is like that shower or that bubble bath or whatever, and to have like a nice soap that has we always put like a nice inspirational quote on it, and just wanted people to men and women to connect with the feminine energy and just be more in tune with that. So I love that. I love that you use the word goddess.
Yeah,
and
it's all coming together.
Yeah,
I love that too. Oh, thank you so much. This was really fun.
Thank you, Shannon.
It's not scary like I thought. I was so scared.
No, I told you.
All right. The Mad Libs help, though. Thank you, Betty White.
Yes. Thank
Come
you,
join
Betty
the show
White,
one day.
We're
Please
putting
come.
it out there. We're getting Betty White on the show.
I know. I want her out here.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right, guys. I am the Playful Trainer. You can find me on Instagram at the Playful Trainer. As always, you can find these podcasts, the ones you missed and the ones you want to hear again, on YouTube, on my YouTube page, The Playful Trainer. Again, always thank you to Mr. Ron Harlow Media, and all of our awesome sponsors. And if you want to get in on the action and get a sponsorship in here, just let us know. We'd love to have you. So I'm going to take this out here. We'll be back next week. We have a guest. His name is Audric Warren, and I'm excited because, excuse me, we actually went to high school together.
Oh my goodness.
And, really haven't connected in a long time, but I've been really watching his journey on Instagram. We connect on there, and he's got Effort PR. It's a athletic training, rehabilitation, all that he does. And, he went to school for all that kinesiology and all that stuff.
Awesome.
So he's going to be an awesome source of knowledge just about how to train your body right. And, we talked about sort of all these bad diets and all this stuff that's out there, and everybody wants to be a trainer on Instagram, and everybody wants this and that, and just sort of how to bring it to a realistic point of view. And so very, very excited to have Audric on the show next week and to get a little male energy in here, right? That'll be fun. Yes, and again, the Playful Journal is available on Amazon for your purchase. So get playful, stay playful. Oh, Ron's bringing me this
Got the
here.
book here.
Here it is. Yay.
It's so nice. I know.
Yes, it
I love
does.
it.
I
You're
know.
wearing the colors and everything.
I wear this all the time. I love this thing. I found this at a thrift store in Indianapolis, by the way, and it's like my favorite piece of clothing.
I love it. I love it.
All right, guys, stay playful, and we will see you next Thursday.